Hello, this is Nathan Wood, pastor of North Dayton Baptist Church, and welcome to day 47 of the Mixed Chain Reading Plan. We're on February 16th, 2021. We're in Genesis 49, Luke 2, Job 15, and 1 Corinthians 3. 1 Corinthians 3 reminds us, and thank you for being a part of this Bible reading. So, again, I don't want to preach to the choir too much, but be in the meat of the Word. Not just the milk. Study to show yourself approved. Get to know the Lord. Get to have your own grounding and your own walk with Him and understand Him on a one-to-one basis. Understand the Word yourself. And that doesn't mean like leaning on your own understanding. It's like, well, this is how I see it. And it's like, well, test yourself. I mean, listen to some teachers. Get a concordance, learn how to rightly divide the word of truth contextually. And that's part of why I give commentary. But it's like, at the end of the chapter, Paul reminds us that, we're not supposed to be following men. And that's not just, the men of this world. Because if we put too much confidence in men, we're going to find out real quick. Even Christian men, good, solid men, can fall. It's happened all too often and all too recently. Breaks your heart. Pray for your pastors. Pray for your evangelists. Pray for your missionaries, your apologists. Pray for your teachers of the word. Please pray for me. Please pray for my family. We need it. We need protection. We need protection from the world who seeks to tear us down. We need protection from the devil and our own lusts and our own temptations. We have sin too, folks. We're not super because we're in the pulpit and on the platform and on the camera. We're humans. We need your prayers. We need you desperately. Thank you for it. Also, moving on. Luke chapter 2. Caesar Augustus. Thinking about bad things happening, Caesar Augustus used to be known as Octavian. He had a friend named Mark Anthony, and he and Octavian beat Brutus and Cassius in their final battle at Caesarea Philippi. Brutus and Cassius, Mark Anthony, from maybe you've read it in a Shakespeare play, Julius Caesar. Brutus and Cassius were in favor of preserving the republic, representative government, for preserving freedom of the people. Julius Caesar was a threat to that. Even though he was a friend of Brutus, Brutus kills him, or aids in killing him, certainly. And Marcus Antonius and Octavian defeat Brutus and Cassius, and Octavian eventually becomes Caesar Augustus. And he launches a really neat campaign. I don't want to get too far into it, but I watched a good documentary about imaging and propaganda in the ancient world. And Augustus had been a very cool cat. A cool cat totalitarian. And oddly enough, it was the cool kids back then, the younger generation, who wanted dictatorship. They wanted a powerful government. The young kids did, the cool kids did. He had long hair. He wore very outlandish flowing clothes, Octavian did. But when they dressed him up to be the Caesar, he toned down his image. They started stamping his image on the coins. They made a statue of him. He had a haircut. He started wearing very conservative looking armor, and had a motif of the gods blessing him, so an appeal to religion. So wanting him to look more peaceful and more respectable to the older generation who wanted to keep the Roman Republic. And they went ahead and let him in because he didn't look so bad. Sad indeed that the Republic of Rome was lost and that dictatorship ruled the day. But guess what? God used it. God used it. How so? Well, this census and tax that was declared by Caesar Augustus, and Caesar Augustus is old by this time. He sends out this decree, and it forces a Nazarene couple to leave Nazareth and go to Bethlehem. And that ends up being where a little baby is born, where he is prophesied to be born, the Son of God, the Messiah of Israel, of the line of David, born in the house of bread, the bread of life, Jesus Christ, because God allowed a dictator to rule Rome. God knows how things work. He allows and he disallows. He is in control. So we can criticize how things go from an ideological or principled side of things. This is not God saying that man taking dominion over man and unilaterally declaring taxes and one man ruling. God's not approving of that. But folks, God does use these things sometimes. And he allows these individuals to take power. And he uses them to his purpose. Doesn't mean we have to like what's going on, but we need to be mindful that God always has control. So bear that in mind. He uses the worst situations for the greatest things. Because there was ultimately a promise that had to be kept. That's one of the promises of the seed. Well, it's the continuation and development of the promise of the seed of the woman in Genesis 3:15. Comes in Genesis 49, talking about Judah. Scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come. The one who has claim to the scepter, the kingship of Israel, will come, and he has come. It's present now or past. He has come, because it's still in the future here. But look at verse 8 through 12. Thy brethren shall praise Judah. Thy hand shall be on the neck of thy enemies, heel on the head of the serpent. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp, a lion of the tribe of Judah, Jesus. Binding his foal into the vine, he is the vine. Christ is the true vine. His ass is colt into the choice vine. Rode into Jerusalem on the foal of an ass, on a donkey. He washed his garments in wine and his clothes in the blood of grapes. Isaiah 63, read it. That's when he comes again the second time, and he will slay his enemies and the enemies of Israel. His eyes shall be red with wine and his teeth white with milk. The concept of being washed white in snow in the redness of his blood seems contradictory to us, but he is pure because he shed his blood. He was pure beforehand, but we can be pure because he shed his precious blood, and we can be washed white as snow in his blood. Wonderful imagery, and it's all real. All of it's real. This one is the one that is born in Luke chapter 2. Caesar Augustus didn't have a clue that he was making a decision that would play right into God's time clock. Nothing's a coincidence. Let's be in the Word. Let's be in the Word. Let's trust in God and not in men. And let's pray for one another. We love you. Have a good day.